Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I am your host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest, former ECW television champion, the sexiest man alive to many. He is Mr. Jason Knight. Jason, welcome to Two-Man Power Trip. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
What is going on in your world?
Well, keeping very busy lately. You know, just kind of made a comeback after about 12 years of not um, not being present. In the industry, and all of a sudden I'm back. So a lot of things are happening. Bookings, interviews like this. Then we have signings, different conventions, and of course. Still available for bookings and started booking our own shows, Assault Championship Wrestling relaunching.
Where are you doing those shows? Is it Connecticut, New Jersey, or where are those shows?
Well, basically, we're relaunching in New Jersey. We already had our first show. The next one's going to be November 11th in Williamstown, New Jersey, at the what is that? The
Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer Center. So it's I guess a local rec center, beautiful building, very central to everything. And we are planning on re-invading Connecticut pretty soon, and Pennsylvania. So it's pretty much going to be between New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut.
How do you feel about getting it back going, like getting back in the swing of things?
Uh, Extremely stressed and tired, like we all are, because it takes a lot. But we're looking forward to good times to come. And it's always very difficult when you're starting or restarting something that has not been available for quite a while.
When people think of Jason Knight, what's the first thing they usually think of? ECW, or what usually comes up as far as you and your career?
More than likely ECW, and of course, the fans that have followed, and the Japanese fans remember me from there, and pretty much ECW. But I worked for WCW and WWFE, whatever. So it it was pretty fast, and also in the different independent groups. But I think ECW would be that the focal point.
When you get booked, I mean, just talking about really, really early on in your career for WCW and WWF, how does that even happen? Like, is that through like Johnny Rods, or how do you get booked with those promotions?
Actually, I just happened to be there. I was visiting a friend in Florida, and they needed someone to finish a loop of a bunch of house shows for WCW, and I was there, and I got booked, and then I was invited to do TVs. That's basically how that happened, and then um, I remember the WWFE, whatever at the time it was, needed some people up in Canada for their television brands, and I got booked for that too. So basically, once you're there, and if they like you, they will always call you back. And fortunately enough, they did like my work, and then again, even back back in the late '80s or early '90s, I've already been in the business for quite a while, so I had the experience and the training and all that, and always took care of myself. So uh, the rest is history. That's why those people, those agents and bookers and promoters, they are hired for that purpose to find the right people for the right job. And again, fortunately enough, I was one of them.
How do the guys treat you, like, in the ring? Is it a little bit different? Do they treat you good? Because I know you hear different stories from different guys, like, I know a mutual buddy of ours, Just Incredible, he
Yeah.
always says the Steiner brothers treated him really well, and then you hear from other guys, they abused me, they beat the crap out of me." What's your thoughts on some of those guys?
I've never had a bad experience with anyone. I mean, those are super professionals. And, let's get one thing straight. That's why they are superstars, because they are super professional. And basically, if you can't handle their style, then you might as well just buy a ticket and be a fan or watch it on TV, because you can't pick and choose who you're going to work with. You have so many different styles, uh, people that work very intense because that is their primary job. That's how they make a living. And uh, you can't expect them to take it easy on you, or to treat you uh, any more special than anyone else, because again, that's their style. That's how they work. That's how they make a living, and that's why they're top superstars. And needless to say, if you're not up to it, then walk away.
Right.
I never had a bad experience. I mean, and I've worked with the Steiner brothers. I've worked with very big men such as Mark Calloway. When he was Mean Mark,
Yep.
Sid Vicious, Vader. Uh, they were all tremendous. Uh, then that was WCW, and of course I worked with Michael Hayes and Ric Flair, and then over in WWF it was Terry Taylor. Let's say, oh yeah, WCW. My very first match was Mike Rotunda, and Mike had a tendency not to call anything in the back, and again, if you weren't ready for it, and if you weren't trained, and if you weren't willing to accept a match where you're not going from A to Z, then you really don't belong in the industry. And I don't understand all this. I mean, I've seen people simply back up and leave because they would read off uh, the booking for the night, and their name would be next to so and so, and they simply got scared and left. So, but then they would try to come back again, and to me that's absolutely ridiculous and asinine, because if you can't handle working with anybody and everybody, then again you do not belong in the industry. You need to take up something else.
For sure. And I remember a Monday Night Raw match was against Lex Luger, a big Monday Night Raw match you had
Yeah,
against Lex.
yeah, Luger. Let's say Curtis Hughes. I worked with Jacques Rougeau. I worked with Steve Kerr. I've worked with quite a few there. The Beverly Brothers. Then was Ric Flair, Rick Martel, John Ord. They're all tremendous, each and every one of them. And again, that's why they're there, because they are superstars.
At that point, are you looking for a contract, or you're just, you're kind of just trying to make your way in the business?
Just hoping for the best. Uh, it was. I think it would be a little premature to look for anything like a steady contract, because at that time they had a lot of well-established talent that were there for obvious reasons, because they were able to draw money. And as far as looking for something uh, more than what was already available, I mean, of course, you're always hoping. You're simply hoping for the best, but you have to be a realist.
When you're there, how much contact is it there, or if any, with like guys like Vince McMahon, or Pat Patterson, or Bruce or something?
Limited, you know, it's limited, and I mean, I knew why I was there and what I needed to do, So any, I don't believe in brown nosing, and I don't believe in following the boss around, and I'm not a bag carrier. Again, I'm not a brown noser. I'm just there to work and do what I'm told to do and hope for the best. But yeah, it's very limited because I really, I mean, as far as following Vince around or Patterson or any of those guys, Pat Patterson, I might have spoken 3 words to him, during my time there. It was basically Tony Gurria and Rene Glay, Sergeant Slaughter. As far as anyone else, so you hardly even see them, because and besides, they're busy with their work, the behind the scenes and production and all that. So they have enough to they, they have enough to worry about without someone trying to follow them around like a puppy, hoping that they'll be noticed, and that's just ridiculous.
It's interesting, like when you go back and you watch that era of WWF and see a few years later, guys made big names for themselves in ECW. Yourself, Tony DeVito, PJ, just incredible. The Eliminator, well, not the Eliminators, the Pitbulls. I mean, there was a bunch of guys that were there. You're like, wow. And then all of a sudden, they start to flourish, and they really kind of made a name for themselves in ECW.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember Perry Saturn when
Yeah, Saturn. Yeah.
yeah, he was one of the enhancement guys, and I mean, he just uh, exploded in pros. And again, due to obvious reasons, because they're super talented, you know. But as far as Credible and DeVito and all those guys, I mean, they deserved the push they got because of their obvious talent. You know, same thing with the Hardy Boys. I remember when they were just enhancement talent, and look at them now. So
Yeah.
that's definitely thumbs up to them. Oh,
How did you break into ECW? Because it seems like you were there like 4 different times, but how did you break in originally? Was it, I guess, Todd Gordon and maybe Eddie Gilbert was running things then?
actually, it was Heyman that called me
Oh, wow. Okay.
because I knew Paul from years before that, and he called me and said that he really wanted me to come and work for the Eastern Championship Wrestling because I mean I heard something of it because again you remember back in the day there was no internet. It was all through magazines or trading tapes and what have you. And I knew that it was a hell of a company out of Philly. Uh, I think actually my first night there in '93, Ultra Clash '93, was Eddie Gilbert's last night there because that's when Paul took over, and I worked with an injury. A few months before that, I had not one but 2 lower back surgeries, and I really wasn't supposed to be in the ring. Uh, but then, of course, I worked with the Public Enemy, Teddy and Johnny, and I trusted them 100%. And my tag team partner was Ian Rotten, and he pretty much took all the bumps, while I just did whatever I could. Then I had one more match against the Canadian Wolfman, and it was somewhere in Pennsylvania. And that was the night where Paul decided to put the character to play, for me to play the character of the manager because he knew that I was just starting to get back into the whole thing, and it was extremely premature for me to get back in the ring after a couple of major lower back surgeries after only like a few short months, and I was supposed to wait anywhere between a year and a half, maybe 2, before engaging in activity of such nature, you know, professional wrestling, which it's obviously you're bumping a lot, and anything can happen, and that's where the manager character came in, and he gave me an idea of what he wanted me to do, and then I kind of tweaked it my own way, and it was and I enjoyed it in the beginning.
I was kind of wondering, like, how come the manager role? I didn't realize you had the injury because you were bigger than some of the guys you're managing. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, this guy should be wrestling. He's bigger than some of these guys. So I didn't even know about the back injury.
Yeah, bigger and actually even more experienced than some of the guys that I was wrestling were just as So, but yeah, I mean, I had to kind of you know, I took a risk, I took a chance when I got back and got in the ring, and it was definitely from any medical standpoint a very very bad idea.
Yeah.
But I just felt that hey, it's now or never, and I believed that Paul and Todd and everyone else involved would try to elevate the company, and of course, they had a lot of help. And when you have people like Terry Funk and Kevin Sullivan and Stan Hansen, the original Sheik, Captain Little Butcher, and then of course, Sabu and this one and that one coming in, that they're trying to point the company toward the right direction. And I knew that for a fact, and that's why I decided to take the chance and get back in the ring when I really shouldn't have. But then, like I said before, the character of the manager was offered to me, and uh, in in the beginning it worked really well because it was a different character, and I had great people to work with. Like just the opposite of my character, where the fans, of course, liked them. They didn't like me or love to hate or what have you. But it worked. It worked there for a while, and then I got tired of it.
Yeah, because you actually come back and then you become TV champion. So it's like you had a next stint. So how do you come back in and then basically, they're giving you a big push. They're giving you a title.
Oh, because Mikey and I had great chemistry, and they thought that it was a good idea to kind of put the TV title on me where I'm supposed to not deserve it, and then of course I
Right.
get Dean Malenko with me to win my matches for me, and that was pretty much that. I just wish I stayed a wrestler and kind of like dropped the whole manager thing because later on it was like it didn't make any sense. Like with the Impact players, I always say they didn't need me. I mean it was them, and they were talented enough, and of course along with Don Marie. So you don't need a Jason Knight when you have a Don Marie there. And it's obvious. I wouldn't want to see me. I
Hmm.
would want to see her.
Right. Was that like the wrong kind of heat kind of thing?
I don't even I don't even know what that was all about. You know, all I know is that when when Credible came in, and I can understand. Okay, so needing a heel manager uh, to come into his own, and he did. So I really didn't. He didn't need me. And I think it was a great idea to put us. We did a ton of tag team matches, him and I, and it was like all over the place. We were working with Dreamer and Whipwreck, and those were more fun times because I was able to get in the ring and do all that, uh, which is what I signed up for that. Not to be a manager.
Right. What did you think about Mikey Whipwreck? I know you said you guys had great chemistry, but what did you guys, what did you think about each other?
Oh, I mean, we were like we we were extremely close, because I mean we just worked together beautifully, and it was so much fun because after the shows, after the matches, we would hang out and have a few beers and talk about how much fun we had and what we could maybe add or eliminate, and it was a lot of fun. And I wish that that lasted longer because I think that we could have had a good angle going there for a longer period of time. than it was allowed.
When you look at ECW, obviously everyone who talks about Paul Heyman. What did
Yeah,
you think about Paul? I know you said you knew him beforehand, but what did you think
yeah.
about him?
Paul. I mean, he was is uh, Paul is Paul, and he just has that mind for the business, you know. And aside all that negative, which of course you will hear it because there were things that were not very positive about Paul, as far as how in the end a lot of us got screwed over, and I mean that's a fact. But at the same time, his ideas and his decisions, and as far as he's a true pioneer. I mean, he completely went ahead and made something out of something, but made it bigger. And he was definitely able to create characters and hide weaknesses. And Paul Heyman is responsible for a lot of us today that are still going strong, and especially the clique, his clique, that are still doing great out there. Paul Heyman is responsible. And to me, when I hear some of the guys, that oh, he is this and he is that, I'd like to rip his head off and all that. Why? I mean, he made a superstar out of you when nobody even wanted to take a second look. And it was Paul Heyman. He there's a lot of positive and there's a lot of negative.
It's one of the things you always hear, like, "Oh, he's the worst businessman of all time," but oh, but he's a genius creatively, right?
Yeah, yeah, all that he I don't believe that for a second, because people say that he mismanaged the money. No, that's all a bunch of bullshit, because he knew exactly what he was doing, and his clique knew exactly what was going on. And of course, a lot of us were kept in the dark, but I always knew that he didn't mismanage anything. He managed it right where he needed it to be. And that's in his own pocket. All this, how he mismanaged, I think it was all a big plan. I think it was a plan for the ECW to last only so many years, for Paul and his group to move on to bigger and better things, and everyone else just, well, tend for yourselves. That's exactly what I think. I think it was all a plan. Uh, ECW was not supposed to last more than what it lasted for 8 years. That I was there anyway. From what, 93 till 2000, and then 2000 or 2001, whatever. And then of course the company was pretty much well sold to Vince McMahon, and Vince, had his own agenda, and that's that he was going to take a big fat crap all over us, the company, and here we are today, and when you look at the other companies that kind of like followed us, that a lot of people, oh, they'll never be ECW, like let's say TNA, NWA, or Ring of Honor or whatever, they're still around because somebody wants it to be around, and out of all people, Paul Heyman could have, we still could have rocked ECW, even us older guys.
It's interesting. Paul still works for the WWE today,
Yeah,
of all places, right?
I mean, well, I mean, he is the business, and again, you know, I now more than ever am I sure that it was always a business deal between the companies, and all that. One hating the other and all that. It was a whole bunch of bull, because it was designed to fool the boys that act like marks,
Hmm.
and believing you know believing the bullshit. And I was never one of them. I just didn't say anything. but it's like, especially toward that tail end of ECW, I knew exactly, what was happening, and that's when my attitude started changing a little bit, and that's pretty much when I stopped getting booked, and I wasn't allowed to go anywhere else because I wanted to be released so I could go to WCW, and I was never released. So, but that's all. Water under the bridge. Um, None of these companies exist anymore, other than in memory, and it is what it is.
When you look at that and look back, did you guys know that Vince was kind of funding the company at one point and like feeding you
Yeah,
guys and giving the money, or did the guys
oh
not
yeah.
know?
Well, sure. I mean, when you have the WWF guys coming in and working with us, uh, and especially for a good period of time, like let's say, remember the two really talented Phil Fawn and Doug Furness, and I mean
Yep.
they were WWF. So was Brackus. So was a bunch of other guys, that were being groomed. I mean, it was grooming grounds for WWF, and those that did not see it are either stupid or blind or both.
Yeah, it seemed pretty obvious. Obviously, then Paul and the guys show up on Raw a few
Yeah.
times, show up at the pay per
Okay.
view.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on. Like I said, it's either stupidity, blind, excuse me, blindness, or both. Because and it surprises me, that a lot of our professional comrades would believe something like that, because it was very, very transparent, But I guess a lot of times people don't want to believe it because they're hoping for the best, And it's almost like that ostrich policy. If you dig your head into the sand, it's really not happening around. Everything's going to be okay.
Do you think maybe they were like trying to be a part of the revolution? Because if you're part of, if WWE's backing you, it's not really a part of the revolution. You know what I mean? It kind of goes against what you're fighting for.
I suppose. I mean, it's. I think it's, like I said, it's. I think everything is very, very transparent and it's out there. And again, people that still believe that, oops, he slipped on a banana peel and mismanaged me. Again, that's total bull.
When you look at like Paul, excuse me, and like look at what he's able to do creatively,
Yeah.
you were kind of saying he hides the weaknesses and shows the strength. How come other like bookers through the years have been able to like master it? He seems to be able to get more out of guys than so many other people that have maybe even tried to copy him.
Um, probably because probably because he cared, and probably because and I'll tell you why he cared. Because let's be honest, most of us that started um, working for ECW when Paul took over, most of us, nobody was really banging down our doors and inviting us to the big companies. And we were hungry, and we were ready, willing, and able to do anything under the sun to work to make ECW what it was, along with Paul and Todd and everyone else. And we knew that this was really our opportunity. And whoever says different is a liar, because nobody was really uh, inviting pretty much any of us to headline World Wrestling Federation or WCW. That came later, after we were already established, and after after, like you said, when they started copying this. Therefore, he he had he had bunch of talent that really had nowhere to go. And ECW was the closest thing that you will have as the company back then, at least on the East Coast. So, we really felt like, we were working for a company. You know, even before we were contracted, we felt like we were under contract because that's exactly how how we treated us. And, with his pep talks and all that. And again, we had an opportunity. And I'll tell you one thing, Paul always, I can't say always because, there were times when he would literally, um, he would literally tell you to work a certain way so that you would look like a good wrestler out there. I mean, it happened to me anyway. Between that and editing matches and making them look like they were over in 3 seconds. But for the most part, he believed that every match was a main event, and that's exactly my that's my theory as well. Every match from opening till the so-called main event is a main event, and if the other guys can't follow you, that's too bad.
That does seem like the mentality. Like
Yeah,
certain things at WWE, it always has like, oh, it builds up to the main event. The main event goes crazy. Now in ECW, you can have the first match, the guy's going crazy.
yeah. I mean, I think again, if you can't follow someone, then you need to reverse, and you need to be that first opening match. Instead of let the let the workhorses do what they do. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way due to politics and maybe family situations. And, people that are loyal to one another. Therefore, you can get some garbage out there that really does not belong as a part of a main event or a strong push. But it is what it is. It's showbiz.
In late 95, you have a match against Conan. You lose in about 15 seconds. I think Taz was a special guest referee. So, I mean, it's a quick match and then you're gone to Japan. Was that something that they wanted to squash you? Or was that something where you're just like, all right, I'm leaving. Let's just get this over with? Or were you injured?
No, I wasn't injured. I was. That's only I'm there. I'm being told to get my gear on, and then I'm being told that I'll be squashed in 15 seconds, and I say okay.
Was there like a point to like, what were they going to do something? Like, was it a storyline or like what happened?
No, I don't know what happened.
Oh, wow.
I don't. I don't know.
Just one of those things. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even question it. And it's not. And I remember that Conan Carlos, spoke to me after that, and he pretty much said, "Man, it's bullshit because I've been here for a little while. You do everything and anything they tell you to do, and they really should have more respect for you." And I said, "Hey, man, thank you, but again, it is what it is, and I'm not going to question it. And it's not the guy's fault that he's going to squash me in 15 seconds. It's that's it's their decision as far as the office. So they said, oh, there's Jason. Why don't we just do it to him? So what are you going to do? I
You
mean,
don't come back until
one of two things: you can either accept it or pack your bags and leave. And I wasn't about to do that.
you don't end up coming back until 97. How come the long absence? You were having, too much success in Japan, or what was going on in between?
No, it was okay. So we started running at the Lost Battalion, all right, and the bookings were a little bit few and far between at the time. And to be honest with you, I had rent due, I had car insurance due, I had a child that was born and was still a baby in the diapers and needed to be taken care of. And I had an opportunity to go to Japan, and it would be one day coming back late. So in other words, I'd have to. I would be back on a Sunday. The night before they did that second Lost Battalion thing. It was with the Eliminators and the Pit Bulls, and I was managing the Eliminators, and they wanted to do a six-person tag. In other words, putting Francine in the ring along with me and the Eliminators, and it was supposed to be a dog collar match. And of course, Francine would beat me up, and I had an opportunity to go to Japan and make serious money and pay my bills. And I told Paul that I really need to do that, and he lost it. He's like, you have more loyalty. I said, no, I have loyalty, to my family at the time, and again, I have a loyalty to that landlord, and all these all these
Right.
bills paid, and I can't rely on that one shot within that month. I mean, there's nothing else going on. And of course, Paul's like, no, I'll tell you what, I'll match up and I'll give you what they promised they would give you. And I think I actually had like a 2.5 weeks that I was going to wrestle in Japan. And I'm like, no, you're not going to, give me, advance me that money and pay me all that, whatever they were going to pay me. And we only have one show, no, I'll take care of you. I give you my word. Don't go to Japan, just show up and, I'll pay you, I'll match it. I'll talk to Sakurada. Don't worry about it. Him and I go back a long way. I'm like, no, I'm going to Japan. And then he said, well, you do that, don't come back. And I said, Paul, I hate to hear that, but you're not understanding my situation. And I went to Japan, and then I was obviously not welcome to ECW at any time, any point soon. So I wrestled out in the Indies, and got booked pretty much every weekend. And then I broke my ankle, my other ankle. I broke it at one of the shows in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then I was out for quite a few months. And after that, I just I took a chance and I went to one of the ECW shows, and Paul said, "Yeah, I heard about your ankle and what have you. How's that going?" And I said, "The cast is off. I'm walking. I'm back in the gym." And he said, "Well, what are you doing tomorrow night?" I said, "Well, whatever you tell me to do." And he welcomed me back. It was the ECW arena, and it was I was under the ring when PG-13 wrestled Mikey and Spike, and that was my comeback to ECW for the second time, I believe, second time.
When you do come back, are you wanting to be a wrestler or are you wanting to be a manager this time around because of the injury?
Well, right now at this point, I'll take anything, and I'm not gonna, be too demanding as long as I'm back in and working. But ultimately, I've healed pretty well and been in the gym, and obviously, I'd rather be a wrestler than a manager. But then I'm kept as a manager, and that's I think that's when the whole credible situation occurred when they brought PJ in. And, then they they put us together, and and again, that worked pretty well for a while.
What did you think? I know you were kind of saying before he didn't really need you, but what did you think about the pairing? Because you are teaming together, you are wrestling, and you are managing.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, again, that whole uh, managing thing, it was just again, they did not need me. They did extremely well on their own, and especially as the Impact players, they did great on their own. And of course, I reiterate, they had Don Marie. They did not need me.
When you look at ECW at this point, is pay a problem at all? You remember, like we were saying kind of saying before, he didn't pay some guys, or he's doing the new Rockney speeches, getting everybody involved. But was that ever an issue with him, especially at this point?
Yeah, the checks were bouncing, but he always took care of it. It's like the checks were bouncing and there were late fees, and I would hit him up with the late fees. He didn't like it, but he did take care of me. So I can't say that. Now as far as owing money for the pay-per-views, the video games, the T-shirts, and all that, didn't see any of that. That's pretty much where you make most of your money. It's merchandise, it's video games, it's pay-per-views. You know, and I got paid a bonus for only one pay-per-view, and the rest was so. I was still getting my bi-weekly checks, but that is pretty much enough, to live on, pay our bills, and what have you. But what we were promised, as far as again merchandise, pay-per-view, video games, for goodness sake, people still play those.
Oh yeah.
Didn't see anything, so that's where that's where we kind of really got ripped off.
Do you have like a running check meter or whatever, like some of the guys do, like franchise Shane Douglas goes, oh, he owes me 144,759. Like, is that something that you have in your mind, or is it you kind of,
Oh, yeah, I mean, if I really sat down to calculate, yeah, I think it would be quite a figure. I mean, I would have, you know, let's just say I'd be doing a lot better.
any bitterness at all, or is it like kind of just forgotten at this point?
No, it's not forgotten because I mean, again, there's no hatred or not even dislike. It was just a shitty thing to do. Because they all moved on, had their families, and they're doing well, and what have you. Like I said, when I stopped being booked, it was a dark time. Because I had a child that was diagnosed with leukemia. Uh, Things weren't going well as far as that, and suddenly now you're not booked, and they won't release you, so you can go work elsewhere and make money. I think that was very shitty.
When you look at that point of ECW, is it as crazy as people say? Oh, the drug culture was nuts, and this was nuts, and that, or is that overblown, or maybe perfectly stated?
It was a constant rock concert, you know, and I mean, there was a lot going on. Like I said, it was like being a huge rock band, you know, and living the life. So, and I mean, I'm not sure because again, I mind my own business. I never got involved as far as the other companies, what people do. If they're say, as far as drinking or drugs or whatever, that's none of my business. But you hear it everywhere. That I mean, people are, people get themselves in trouble because they develop certain habits, and I think. I don't know, why everyone's pointing a finger at ECW. I believe that it goes on everywhere, or it went on everywhere. I'm not sure. I'm not there.
If you look around the business at that point, you're right. I mean, it was like, oof, WCW, WWF. I mean, it was going on more than just ECW for sure.
Yeah, well, perhaps a bigger company, more people to develop bad habits, and again, I'm not saying it's a majority, but I mean it goes on everywhere. I just don't really, like I said, I mind my own business, and I don't dabble into that. Who does what, and let's report this one or that one, or snitching, writing things, and talking behind people's back. That's never been me, and never will be.
Any sort of relationship with Todd Gordon, who obviously was the founder of ECW?
Yeah, I mean, I still see him, and we're we've always been close, and nothing's changed. And I see him quite a bit.
His book just came out recently. I'm
Yeah,
pretty friendly with him, but it was funny, like, to see all the mole stuff because I always knew that. I mean, that's just so like preposterous, but it's just so interesting that that was put out there, but by Paul. Oh, he was the mole for WCW.
yeah.
Did you kind of think, or were you again, smart to the business? I mean, obviously you're in it, but I mean, were you smart to it, knowing that, like, okay, that story's not true?
I haven't read it, so I wouldn't know.
Basically, he was saying that he wasn't really even a part of the company anymore, and that Paul knew if he was saying like, "Hey, Public Enemy, Kevin Sullivan, can hire you WCW," like Paul knew everything. He was never a mole for WCW. It's basically the gist of it.
I guess. I mean, if it's there, I guess that's what must have been happening.
When you look at your time at this point, it's like ECW. Okay, they're getting the pay-per-views, they're getting the figures, they're getting the like. Did you guys think like, okay, the momentum's on your side, the business should be rolling? Like, what was your thought
Yeah,
process at this point?
exactly what you just said. That's what I felt. Because I mean, everything was going well. And I didn't see the reason for it other than the fact that certain people had their hidden agenda. So there was no reason other than that hidden agenda for ECW to just you know fall apart and overnight. And I heard that I wasn't there, and I heard that there was this whole big tear jerking thing. This is our last night, and let's go out with a big boom. And I forgot where that was, but the very last ECW is ECW because I did work two pay-per-views for the WWE ECW brand. Which I definitely that's when I really saw that this is not going anywhere. This is just going to be it's a little game, little toy car, and when it gets bored, when it doesn't need you anymore, it'll disappear. That's just
Pine Bluff, Arkansas, I believe, was oddly enough the last ECW show. Kind of a weird place you would never think of for the last ECW show.
yeah, yeah.
And Paul wasn't even around for it. I mean, the company ends and Paul's not even around.
Okay, well, all right. I guess it's self-explanatory.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because I know so many people were shocked. He ends up on Monday Night Raw doing commentary basically
yeah,
the next day.
yeah.
What did you think about that? Predictable, or what did you think?
Yeah, predictable. I mean, you know, it's something that I saw it coming. I was just it was just a matter of when, not if, but when. And it, I mean, again, if again, if people think any differently, like I said, blind or stupid or both, probably both.
Before ECW ended, you were working with Jazz quite a bit. What did you think about working with Jazz and even jobbing to her at the Heatwave '99 pay per view?
Yeah, yeah, that was. I enjoy that. I enjoy that because plus I was told that if by Paul that if I do this, that he would put all that behind, as far as managerial. Said, you're just going to come in and wrestle, and kind of like, I'm tired of, I'm tired of, I'm tired of having to, pretty much almost like like shoot with it. I'm tired of having to put people over and be the third, fifth wheel, and just start wrestling, and kind of he promised me I would become a serious wrestler, and I said I would love that. Uh, win or lose. I mean, I just wanted to do that because I got tired of, hey, can you do me a favor? Do this for this one, do this for that one. Although I loved working with Jazz, and I'm very, very proud of the fact that her career really took off, and also a smart young lady, because she knew when she wanted to step down and get involved with, what her and Rodney are doing right now. They're a tremendous couple, and very, very, very together as far as knowing what they want, and good family people, and I wish nothing but the best for them. But I think that she exploded, and she exploited it. And when it was time for her to say, "This is it," I'm done, with the whole WWE thing and traveling over, all over the country. She wanted to, just be a mom and, be a wife. That's exactly, what she did, and she, simply stopped lingering on and moved on.
So what happened after that that you didn't really become the serious wrestler, and you didn't get that push in ECW?
Yeah, yeah. What happened was, I continued doing whatever I was doing, and I wasn't happy. Excuse me, I wasn't happy at all. I was actually very miserable because, at that point, I felt a lot better physically, and I got on like a serious diet, and started training, working out, and looking better than most of the rip guys over there, because I wanted the attention to be on me. Like, hey, look, let's do this, And then again, you see, the very last picture that I ever took in ECW, when Incredible won the belt, when Francine turns on Dreamer, and you have the three of us standing with Francine, Incredible with the belt, and me in the background, and I'm the biggest and the most ripped of them all, and that was my very last night there. Then they simply stopped booking me, and I decided I'll open my own wrestling school, and then start Assault Championship Wrestling, which was very, very successful in Connecticut. But then again, I kind of surrounded myself with too many people that wanted to be chiefs. They did not want to be Indians, and the same thing started happening. A lot of backstabbing, and a lot of that kind of stuff, and so that's why I decided to put down, the booking ACW shows, and just kind of let it linger, and so we just restarted again. So that's going to be our future, our baby for now. Other than still to do conventions and signings and shows, and I'm back.
As we wind it down, and head towards the finish, what's next though for Assault Championship? Like, how many shows you're going to do? How often? What's going to be the future?
Well, we ran one in Williamstown, New Jersey, and we're about to run another one again at the Pfeiffer Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. That's November 11th, and we have a fan fest, vendors, the whole thing. That's going to be from like what, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And then the show starts at 7.
Show starts at
Yeah.
7, and
there's there's a lot of good talent, but one of the matches, it will be we're bringing in Man Pondo and Peter Be Beautiful versus me in a three-way death match, I guess. So, but there's going to be a lot of talent there, and a lot of surprises too. So if you just follow some Assault Championship Wrestling,
Yes, some ECW surprises too.
some ECW surprises, and we're, I think people are going to like this one.
Where can everybody find Assault, and where can everybody find you as far as social media and website otherwise?
I think Facebook, everything links.
Facebook,
together.
yeah, we you did have a problem with certain people or somebody impersonating.
Okay.
So
The real.
recently, very very recently, there has been a basically a fan page that was created. It's ECW Jason Knight. You'll see him all bloody when he won the television championship,
Nice.
and so that's his fan page. I would probably direct everybody there, but we do have ACW Assault Championship Wrestling. There is a group page that they can join, and there's always the website. We have the website, which I have to work on and update tonight because all of the graphics are done, and all the matches are going to be completely uploaded as of tomorrow, and it's going to be one hell of a show. They are putting together one hell of a show. Him, Angel Amoroso. We have Tommy Cairo as our commentator. And again, a lot. There's a lot of ECW surprises. In fact, the name of the show is November 2. Remember, 30-year rewind.
Awesome. I didn't know the Iron Man was still kicking around in the wrestling business. That's nice. Tommy Cairo is still around.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's back full force. It's he was he came back from the land of the dead because he is the Iron Man, and super attitude and just excited to do this, and I am too because we were very very close in ECW. Well, Tommy and I way before ECW, but then when we were there, we were very close between Angel Amoroso, Tommy Cara, and myself. So it's I'm absolutely loving this because it's some old trusted friends, and excuse me, old trusted friends. And we're back to doing what we like to do. Pardon me, I'm sorry. I'm fine. I'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. Jason, thank you so much for all the time today. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and appreciate you all.
You do have that the tickets for the event are on SimpleTix. So it's acw.simpletix.com.
Yes.
And it's limited seating, so we highly suggest SimpleTix.
Yeah. And then Saturday, we have the.
Yes, you will be at Icons on Saturday. You're a guest at Icons.
Yeah. Nice. In Philadelphia. And I'll be sitting next to, I believe, Charles Wright.
Nice. Your return to the arena. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been there several times before, but, it's always nice to be back home.
All right. Check out ACW and, of course, Jason Knight. Jason, thank you so much for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.